Guess this, I guess we're going to record now. Good thinking, good thinking. All right, good morning, everybody. Welcome to our Power 30 course class session. This is the Synergy Group. And today we have none other than Craig LePage from Charlotte, North Carolina. However, where are you in the world today? Are you in Charlotte, Craig?
I am just north of Charlotte in Lake Norman. It's where our office is. And we're doing great here today. It's a nice sunny day. It's a little crisp, but let's go.
Yeah, you guys had a little cold spell come through in the last week, didn't you?
Yeah. It was cold for North Carolina. I mean, it does get cold here, but it was add a little wind to that, and it wasn't good. But
we have the same comments here in Vegas when we tell people it was cold, and they're like, cold? And I'm like, it's all perspective. Like, we're not set up for cold. You don't plan for cold. Now, if you live somewhere that's cold, you have everything you need. So
that's right. That's the key right there. If you're not ready for it or you're not dressed for it, it's not fun.
We typically will start these Power 30 sessions where we ask our guest to give a very brief background. And when I say brief, maybe 30 seconds, maybe a minute, but not a life story. So tell us a little about who is Craig LePage, and what are some of the things you've done in the industry?
Right. So I was licensed in the end of 2016. Saw everybody make a lot of money going through the working up to 2007 and 8. And then here in the Charlotte area, that's when the bad stuff happened, kind of end of 8, 2009, 2010. Learned a lot from that time, made it through that time. Around 2011, started doing a lot of networking within our office that I was at, my former brokerage. Met Shelly, who's my business partner now. We started really helping each other. She's an amazing networker. And I had a strength in marketing and distribution and internet stuff at the time. She was really curious about what I was doing and how I was generating business. I was really curious about how she generated all these great relationships and built a really solid business. Long story short, about a year and a half after us kind of talking and helping each other, we started a team called LePage Johnson Group. And we built that team up to about 7 or 8 agents. We were at KW at the time. And we did about, the last year we were there in 2017, we did about 42 million in production as a team. And fast forward, EXP was put in front of us July or May of 2017. At that time, we were thinking of leaving Keller Williams to do our own thing. We were thinking of creating a brokerage boutique style model that really gave back to the agents more. We're thinking of, pooling, rental portfolios or investment portfolios and giving back to our agents. We were worried about our agents not having something above and beyond their next transaction. So fast forward, joined EXP. It's been incredible since then. We've been here 4 years, 3.5 years. 4 years now, and we've tripled our production as a team, and we can get more into that and how we did that since being here. So that's it in a nutshell. Now we have about 20 people on our team, and we have an amazing group of support around us, and we're loving it.
Outstanding. Well, the one thing I love is the fact that your commitment to helping the agents, kind of have a system and a process to bring in business. But before we jump into that, there's an interesting transition that happened for you. You were at KW, you're one of the top producing teams, not just in your office, but in the entire region. And you're looking at opening your own company, which, I have done in the past, but yet EXP gets presented to you. So you're heading down this road. We're going to open our own brokerage. You get this opportunity, which, what, when you looked at EXP, what was it that made you go, this is probably more worth our time to explore? Because that's a huge crossroads right there.
Right. Well, I mean, you hit that right on the head. I mean, talk about huge crossroads. I mean, most people think like, hey, it's your business, you're going to make, the right path for your business. But I mean, at the time, having, 8 agents, that's their life, that's their family, that's their income. You make the wrong choice. It's so there's a lot more than just the business. It was, our people on our team. So we actually flew out to San Diego on about 4 days notice and went to the shareholders meeting. Somehow got there. And we were kind of blown away about what was offered. There was only 2,600 agents in the entire company. This is only 4 years ago.
Wow.
2,600.
Wow.
Now there's 74,000.
Everybody hear that number again, 2,600 4 years ago to 74,000 in
Right.
4 years. That's that growth chart. For those of you that like charts, that looks like this.
Right.
Straight up.
So, I mean, we were able to get in front of, luckily at that time, it was, we sat with Glenn Sanford a little bit. We talked to him briefly. We sat down with Jason Gessing, who's the CEO, and went through some numbers and sat with Gene Frederick. And we were like, this is crazy if this is true. So we decided to do that. But to kind of go back to your question, big choice. Why did we do that? It solved 2 main issues. One was we wanted something above and beyond for our agents rather than just the next transaction. In traditional real estate, your goal every year is just do more deals than you did last year. And at some point, your income matches that amount of deals. And then when you want to jump off that hamster wheel at some point, when you're, let's say you're 55, 60, 65, whenever you want to jump off that, you're on that 55 deal or 25 deal treadmill or hamster wheel. And if you get off that, the money stops. So that was the concern. So EXP solved that problem with having the other opportunities for ancillary incomes, through creating some kind of retirement program or a fund for, someone's kid going to college, through the stock opportunities. And then, the opportunity of basically having ownership through revenue share was, we weren't super excited about that, which is kind of funny in the beginning. We're like, oh, that would be really cool. We know some people that would be interested in this, and, the stock sounds really cool. If we can, show a couple people this and they come aboard, we can pay for our office and we'll have free rent. That was kind of the joke. I mean, Shelley said that, and we joke about that all the time.
Hey, so Cody Lewis and I, when we were canyoneering, we were having this conversation about EXP. Cody made the comment. He goes, "Look, if I could just get my house paid for, that would make this so worth it." And we laughed. Every year we look and go, "You have to buy more houses and bigger houses in order to be able to keep spending that revenue share to make that true, because it just comes so quickly." So. No, I love where you're going with this. What intrigues me about something you said, though, is it wasn't just about you and Shelley and getting off the treadmill. You started this conversation about your agents and looking through the eyes of them. And I think, I think everybody's a little bit guilty of not realizing the impact that this can have on another person's life. That the idea of being a deal junkie, which admittedly throughout my 27 years in real estate, I am absolutely a deal junkie. I get high off chasing more deals. However, there is something really nice about having that money come in. So you have now 20 agents on your team. What's the difference that you noticed from your agents back when you were with your former company to today, for the ones that they didn't just absolutely kill it on recruiting, but they brought some people in? What do you notice?
Well, happiness. And I think that comes from not having that boot on your neck that real estate can put on your neck sometimes. It's like, there's peaks and valleys. When we got 3 deals in the hopper, we're like, this is awesome. I'm loving this. You're looking forward. You already got the money spent. But when there's no deals in the hopper, you're like, oh my gosh, you start, thinking forward. Like, I got my mortgage, I got my kids' tuition, I got this, I got that. Like, I need to do something now. And that's a very stressful part of real estate that a lot of people don't talk about. And, even if you're like, hey, you introduced it to one or two people and are coming aboard and you're helping them and they have the help of the synergy group or impact or whoever we're working with, all of us.
Yeah.
And they're happy and they're attracting more people because of the energy and the support. I mean, it's a lot easier to go out and do deals and be happy and be in a good mood, not feel that pressure and do your job correctly if you're getting $500 a month in revenue share or $700 a month in revenue share to kind of offset that. It really makes it a lot easier. It's money you never had before, and it's just coming in for talking to someone about an amazing opportunity.
So if it's okay with you, and we've got a number of things obviously we can talk about, but I would like to dive down into the road of this agent attraction. A lot of our conversations on the Power 30 are, a lot more about, helping you do your business and things like that. And absolutely that is critical. And I think, we don't spend as much time as we should on helping people look through the lens of agent attraction and seeing it a little differently. There's this thing like, well, it's constantly recruiting. Well, I newsflash, in order to get clients, you have to recruit. It just looks and sounds different, right? You want to get a listing,
Right.
You're out recruiting. Oh no, I do all my business by relationship. No, you're recruiting relationships so that they can send you referrals. Same thing with marketing. That's a form of recruiting. So I'd love to get your take, because I think you have a very refreshing approach to this conversation. And just like, let's demystify some of this stuff.
Well, I think it's good that you related it to listings and buyers, and there are people that have needs and you're fulfilling their needs. But in order to do that, you have to create a relationship. In order to create a relationship and keep a relationship growing a relationship, you have to give value. And that value is very important. So I think, you hear it's not rocket science, but once you have the interaction with someone, especially another agent, I think asking a lot of questions and make it about them, their business. And, if you get a good enough relationship with someone where you're able to have a conversation, they're going to start to talk about the challenges that they have, the pain points. And if you can find their pain points, I promise you, this company can solve just about any real estate problem there is, because it solves it with support, it solves it with tools, it solves it with all of us who are shareholders in the company. So unlike a regular brokerage model, everybody's kind of in their little silos or in their cubicles, kind of like, all right, it's all about us. We got to do this. And if someone asks them a question, they might help them out of being nice, but they're really not going to spend a lot of time on them. Here, it's everybody grows together. So
it's that collaborative piece. It's
Yeah.
that collaboration, right? I mean, you have a stake in every agent in the company doing better. You're
Right.
a stockholder, you're a shareholder, you have an investment. So why would you take time at a noon on a Tuesday when I imagine you got a million things going on? It's because it's a win-win. It's that reciprocal.
Right. If I help the people above me, they gain more knowledge and do better, and then the overall company does better from a growth standpoint and stock standpoint. The people that are I say below me in a revenue share group, I work for them. I work for you. It's like, if you need my help and you feel I can help you, I will help you. Because that's just it, and it feels good. That's the most important thing. And if everybody's doing well and getting support and leveraging everybody up, Shelly and I always talk about, like, kind of in the military, you go through the exercise and they're taught to help each other over the wall and leverage each other. Climb on someone's shoulders. When you get up over the wall, make sure you damn well reach back over that wall and try and pull someone over. Don't just keep going. And if everybody were to do that and reach over that wall, that's an unstoppable force. And I think that's what is organically happening in this company. And this company, for those of you who do not know, EXP grows by 1,000 agents a week. a week.
Wow. Wow. And so you touched on something anyway. You said, ask a lot of questions. I put in the chat, make it about them. And then you went on to this, find the pain points. Now, I understand 100% what that means. But for those that maybe are a little uncomfortable with that concept of why would I want to find somebody's pain point? What is a pain point, and what does that mean?
Well, a pain point is usually something that they can identify, but they keep doing the same thing over and over and getting the same results, and they can't figure out why that's happening. So, I mean, it could be, I mean, a lot of times you talk to agents and the pain point is they're trying to grow their business, but they're not really willing to take the leap in order to get leverage. They're not willing to invest back into their business. And that might be something as simple as like paying someone to post their social media. I mean, it's a very time consuming thing. So if you're doing enough business and you feel like a good amount of my business is coming from social media, then you create the content and then you have someone else post it and you keep the consistency. So leverage is a big part. I mean, if you are not willing to hire a closing coordinator and you're doing a lot of transactions every month, you're spending a lot of time in the paperwork and you're not working on your business, you're working in the business. So that leverage alone, by paying someone $300 a transaction, allows you to go out and get another deal every month. That pays for that transaction coordinator 10 times.
But that's the pain point that you're talking about.
That's right.
That agent being stuck on that treadmill, that repeating thing of, like you said, yay, I got 3 deals in escrow. Oh, I got 0 in escrow. And yay, I got 3 deals in escrow. Right.
Yeah.
And it's get off that ride.
Yeah. And that's this one common one. It's leverage. They may want to know how to start a team. They may want to scale their business, and they, a big problem in this industry is that teams and even boutique brokerages put a lot of blood, sweat, and tears and money into agents, grow them into great agents. And then they're like, hey, thanks, Joe, but I'm going to go off and do my own thing. Well, that should be a happy moment when that person leaves the nest, but it's a financial blow. But at EXP, you're part of this organization, you're part of the group, you're part of the company. They're going to leave and you're going to be like, that's awesome. Let me help you. Let me help you go grow your own business. And if you want to grow a team, we'll go grow a team. And they're willing to spend the time to do that. Whereas if you're at another brokerage, they're going to be, and we were there, we would give people leads, we would grow them, make them into great agents. And then they want to leave and we're like, oh, we just lost, X% of our production. And, they have relationships with people that we gave them and now we've got nothing. You're happy for them, but now we help them grow.
It's not as much of a win-win. I'll go back to what you said on the statement of helping somebody over the wall that you use the military reference, right? So if you're attracting an agent, right, you're bringing him onto EXP, how are you actually helping that person over the wall? I understand there's a benefit to you, and this is not a negative conversation. Everybody looks at the person who's recruiting, go, well, I can see why you'd benefit. What are the benefits to the agent that's being recruited?
I think I understand what you're saying, but I think connectivity is the first step that we usually touch on. Talk about what their business is, what are their goals? How can we get to those goals? Because we have such an incredible group of agents like the ones on here, the ones that you guys have built at Synergy and at Impact, we connect them. Like if someone's like, hey, I want to do more of this, I want to be the master of cold calling, I'm going to connect them with that person that I know in the group, and they're willing to spend that time, and that's super valuable. If it's anything to get them to their goal and create a path for them to get to their goal. The collaboration in this company is what got us when we were at KW, and I'm not knocking KW, we did like 40 million, then we did 38 million, then we did 42 million. And I think we hit a ceiling, and the ceiling was we were only as good as our own growth, and we didn't have the network and the collaboration that we needed. And the only way to get that in that environment was like go to a national event or, join a coaching group, which is not a bad thing, but it's like, are you in the right coaching group? But now it's like free. It's like, meet someone and they're willing to like share like everything they have, so instead of trying to recreate the wheel and spend all this money and waste money on things that don't work, it's like, hey, they're good at this. I'm gonna call Cody because he's good at this and he's already done this exercise. So I call Cody and Cody's like, oh yeah, don't do this, don't do that. Here's what I did. Here's my system, run with it. And that's how we all grow together.
And see what I think is most intriguing about what you're saying is that component of the person who's giving, like if you said Cody gave you this aspect of how he does whatever for his business to you, in the normal course of a real estate brokerage, that's just Cody being a good guy.
Right.
But in this case, Cody actually benefits because he's making not only you a better agent, but everybody around you that now has exposure to that same gift. A better agent, a more productive agent, a more effective agent.
Yeah.
So I love that scenario.
And I think in a normal environment, I met Cody at a conference and he's a good guy and I'm friends with him on Facebook and LinkedIn, but there's no real reason for me to kind of communicate with him on a high level, because he's running his business out in Vegas and I'm running my business or our business out here in North Carolina. And it's like, we have something in common, but it's like, there's really no like synergy.
Yeah. There you go. I like how you kind of worked your way into that. I should have bet you in the beginning of the call, like, how can you work this in? All right. So what kind of productions you guys do this last year in revenue? Because I heard you say 48, 50, 52s from, way in the back, years back.
From a team standpoint, like our LePage Johnson team.
Yeah.
We did 123.4 million in production and 261 transactions.
It's a damn shame that collaboration with other EXP agents is just not working for you.
Right. Well, here's a good thing that I always say to people. Collaboration is huge. I mean, we cut a lot of corners by not having to figure things out through having the collaboration through this company. And I think that plays a huge part in our growth. So I think if you're a single agent, you got a small team, utilize that. Get yourself on the synergy group, get yourself on the impact group, get yourself in workplace, go to the events, get plugged in, things will happen. So that really helped us grow because we had connections and resources to grow and do things faster. The other thing was, we started when we first came aboard, we started like, wow, we have these 8 agents and, we brought a couple other people came with us. So we had, 10 or so agents in our organization. And, we started receiving revenue share. We're like, oh, wow, this is cool. This is like money we never had before. So what we started doing is we invested back into our business with it. And we took that money and we started investing and doing things that we may not have done without that money, because if we lost the money, it wasn't like, wow, we never had it before anyhow. So let's take this risk and maybe hire this person or try this ad campaign or do. So we leveraged it. And that really catapulted us, I think, at a high level. We went from 42 million to 78 million in the first year we were at EXP.
And you were directly taking the revenue share from the agents that you had brought on board, and you were reinvesting that right back into your business. And the places that you were reinvesting it came from collaborative efforts from other agents as you were kind of learning and exploring of what was working for them and, what felt like a good fit for you. Is that fair?
Right. And that might have been like hiring someone for like client concierge and really loving on our past clients, or, creating systems or a new technology or whatever that may be. We started leveraging that, and that's what grew it. But the lesson behind that for any agent on this call is, if you have one person that came to the company and they're doing transactions and you're receiving revenue share from that, of course you want you're going to help them, and plug them in. But when you receive that money, if you're a single agent and you receive $200 in revenue share, if you invested that back into your business as a single agent, do you think you're going to get better? Of course you would. So it's a way to leverage your business. It's like taking a loan out that you don't have to pay back. And you don't have to take it out of your tax money. You don't have to take it out of your family's money. I mean, it's the ultimate.
I love it. All right, Craig. So I've kind of been steering our conversation a little. I always like to open it up for you to look through the lens of, is there a message that you want to impart to this group? Anything you got on your mind?
I would say, I always say, get plugged in. I mean, I can't say that enough, and we're all busy. I have a hard time, setting up time blocking, and that's just not my thing. And I use a calendar. So you got to at least use a calendar, get some kind of organization in your time, but you got to get plugged in, reach out to people, talk to people, get in the different groups. I know you guys do a great job with Synergy. Get really plugged in and try and help other people. There's always someone in that group that doesn't have the experience or knowledge that you have in some area. Step forward and say, hey, I learned this today, thought I might share. And if you start giving and giving and giving, people are going to start to see you as a leader because you're leading with giving. And then you're going to get more opportunities and more things are going to happen. The same thing happens in business. If you go out there and you're doing lives on Facebook and say, hey, I'm out in this neighborhood and this is the market report for this neighborhood, and this is how many are sold, and this is what they're building here. If you were wondering, you become the expert and you're plugged in, and that's the stirring the pot. If you've got a bunch of different things going on, you're going to get opportunities. So I would just say plug in and do a lot of different things and just keep going. If you don't move, you're never going to get there.
And to your point, and that is absolutely brilliant, right? You got to get into activity, right? You got to get moving. You opened with a good comment on that answer of everybody's busy, right? And it's about that focused. Where are you contributing? And I want to just touch on the give economy that you just talked about. That giving, helping somebody else, helping another agent. When you were involved in bringing Cody Lewis over, because I know Bill brought you in. What do you think one of the differentiators was from your perspective in your conversation with Cody? Because you didn't know Cody, and
No.
here you are, you're getting on this call with some guy in Vegas. What was it for you?
I actually remember standing in the hallway at the hotel with Cody and talking to him. I think that's the first time I met you in person. And, I don't exactly remember. I mean, he asked me a bunch of questions. I think it was, everybody has a story, and it's like, there's a reason why everybody on this call came to this company. And that's your story. And it made you make a move. And then ultimately, by being a part of this group, you get that result. I mean, you're not going to get this anywhere else. So I think my approach to Cody was just telling the story and asking him some questions and, trying to make him feel comfortable with what his concerns were. And that's 101. And I think once he felt comfortable, he was like, you know what? I feel comfortable with the environment, the people around us, the model. I can see where it can go and how it works. He was in front of and still is in front of a lot of people. People look up to him, and it's an opportunity.
So relieving his concern, that's something we do for all of our clients as well. So this is not a new thing we're talking about. I want to quickly bring Cody in to hear his comment. Cody, what was it for you? Because here you are, you're meeting Craig. You don't know Craig.
Yeah, so it's actually interesting because Bill Price, who's my sponsor, he was having me talk with everybody. I mean, I talked with Gene Frederick. That was the first person I talked with. Then he had Brent Gove call me. And now that I know who those guys are, like that's pretty impressive. But at the time, I didn't know who they were. I didn't care who they were at all, right? But then he had me talk with Craig, and just something about the way Craig said the stuff to me just made me stop and really consider it and consider some of the things in a different way. And honestly, for me, what it was is that those other guys were talking about how like I was going to be on a yacht in the Caribbean and all this stuff. And Craig just said, here, look, this is the good stuff. This is the bad stuff. This is the straight up stuff. And if you've ever seen me present EXP Actually Explained, you know, I just give it to you straight, like Craig did to me. Like that's my style. And so whenever I have somebody that I'm introducing to EXP and I know that that's the message they want, guess who I call? I call Craig and say, hey, Craig, would you talk with this guy? Because I know it's going to resonate.
Yeah.
Bravo.
I mean, and I think that's a great point of style. And, you know, we do that in sales with deals too. You got to know who your audience is and try and match them with a person that, you know, or the style that they're looking for. You know, we had a meeting for our team this morning, and it's like, we were talking about just that is, you know, what are their needs? What's their personality? And try and make that match. I mean, I think another good thing from an agent attraction standpoint is don't try and do it yourself, because it doesn't matter how good you are at explaining this model, it's going to come off as a pitch that you're trying to sell them an idea that's going to benefit you. So you could say, hey, you know, Sally, I want you to meet one of my business partners, Cody. And he's got a very similar story and path that you came from. I think you guys would really, really hit it off. You got to meet this guy. And would you hop on a call if I can get him set up? Yeah, I would do that. And now Cody comes on, introduces himself, goes through his story, why he did it. That relates to that person because I found that parallel, and that's why I picked Cody. And now they're like, all right, you know, now I see it. They're not on the defense anymore because all Cody's doing is telling his story. And then now he's telling the result of it.
Love it. I'm going back through, like, there's a bunch of stuff that's been put in the chat. Ask a lot of questions, make it about them, find pain points, leverage yourself. Let's see. Celebrate the happy moments when an agent moves from independent on their own. Let's see, leverage your revenue share back into your business, get plugged in. There's a whole bunch on that. Lead by giving, give economy. And then finally, the last point here that you mentioned is agent attraction. Don't go it alone. Don't do it by yourself. Craig, I want to respect your time. I'm 2 minutes over on what our timeline was. Last closing thought before we head on our way.
Well, something I think that is important that someone mentioned in that chat was celebrate the people coming over. I mean, think of the thought of someone coming over. A lot of times they're scared. They're stepping into this new environment and they don't really know what to expect or taking that leap of faith. And if they jump into that group and 25, 30, 50, 100 people say, hey, welcome, Joe, you know, you're like, the nerves calm down and they feel welcomed. And then they're not afraid to respond and ask for help because that kind of the ice was broken, so to speak. So I think that's really important. It's a really simple thing, but celebrate the people that are coming over and try to connect them to someone else in that organization that they might relate to. And that doesn't have to be a superstar. It just may be someone that kind of would relate to them or might have went through the same thing or the same feeling or the same path a month earlier. So
I
think
love
that's
it.
important.
Dude, that is on point. And thank you for helping keep that top of mind for us is demystify that moving over experience. Craig LePage, you are a legend, at least in our minds. You have contributed to the Synergy community probably way more than you even know. And it's a pleasure being able to partner with you in business to be able to grow together, and look forward to seeing you at a live event somewhere soon.
Awesome. Love you guys. It's been awesome. Appreciate everything you guys do. This is an amazing group. So let's keep growing.
Right on. Thank you,
care.
Craig. Take care.
Thanks, Craig.
Thanks,
Bye-bye.
Craig. See you in Cabo San Lucas. Yeah.
Yes, let's go.
Excellent. Very good job.
All right, guys. We'll see you later. Thank you.
Thank you, everybody.